buddy back around.
Y'all tell anybody I'll kill you! I'll kill you!
The biggest crackhead in the town.
Peanut butter and cracks.
He kicked his habit back in the joint. Now he's out on going.
Here I come!
He's finally home. He's Tyrone.
There you go, baby. I'm telling you. I cannot wait till they come out and they drop Tyrone Biggins into the House of the Dragon series, man. That's gonna be some shit. You know what I'm saying? Could you imagine fucking Tyrone riding a dragon? You know what I'm saying?
He'd be smoking it. He'd be smoking the dragon.
I'm telling you right now that he would have the dragon smoking crack. You know what I'm saying? That'd be some shit. You know, that'd be very interesting.
He'd be lighting his crack pipe.
He's hilarious. I'm telling you right now, he's a one hilarious son of a bitch. Some of the funny shit I've ever seen in my entire life is some of those skits, man. The one where he goes to the school and he's talking to the kids and shit is hilarious. It's literally hilarious.
The Ku Klux Klan leader.
Oh yeah, where he's blind and he thinks he's white or whatever or some shit. That shit is hilarious, man. I'm telling you.
Clayton Bigsby. I believe his name is
Clayton Bigsby.
Clayton Bigsby.
Clayton Bisbee. Yeah.
White power.
Yeah, that's what I told Shaw when that fucking asshole Shaw called me a racist or whatever when he took off the show the one night. When I talked to him later, I was like, dude, are you basically like that character from Chappelle's show? Like, or do you think I'm him? Where like I don't know I'm white, I think I'm black. And like that's why I saved the black man's life, because I think I'm black. Like that's, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm actually, you know, race, like that's just to fuck with him. But no. So anyways, folks, of course, only on the MCU's Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast do we have such social, fluid, family-like moments like that, tender, special moments like that in between the team here, where they're touching and fucking unique and special and all that crap and whatever. It's wonderful. But no, we're here to chill. We're here to have a good time and whatnot. So, hey, if the conversation, you know, has to be on crack for a minute, then we got to go there sometimes. You know, it's important shit. But either way, we are here once again on a live stream Sunday edition to do, once again, a fucking spectacular, fun as shit. We're going to have a blast fucking review of episode 5 of The House of the Dragon. HBO Studios produced, HBO Max distributed, I guess, basically, series. Game of Thrones prequel series. And we have essentially the fucking squad, basically. Like, I guess that's pretty much going to be the squad for the whole show, like the gist. So, like, you know, so of course we got the whole team here. We got Bobby P holding it down once again. Bobby P, motherfucker, Jesus, did you ever think you'd record this much and be on this many shows and freaking like this short of a time in your life?
It was quite a turnaround. It happened really quick.
I can't even imagine, man. Honestly, I can't even imagine. I started off with cell phone content, 1-minute video content. I never had guests or like moderated shit. You know what I mean? So like for you to jump right in, Renee just jump right in like she did too, and just like jump right in and grind it out and do these shows, man. I can't imagine how tough it is.
Well, it's a lot of fun, so I'm having a lot of fun.
Well, you know what? You tell me. Does the fun outweigh the nervousness?
Yeah, it's starting to, because like I can get pretty nervous. But yeah, the fun's starting to outweigh it.
Bobby, just remember, man, you shouldn't be nervous. You know more about this shit than anybody on here. Come on, man. You're in a good spot.
I know. I don't want to let anybody down with my knowledge.
Oh, shut up. I
want to say the wrong thing.
Oh, shut up. I already told you you've been killing it, man. Don't even play. Yeah. And you know it too. So what up, Renee? Renee's here, of course. Fucking who else? My stand-up girl over here. Skeleton bitch, whatever she is. I don't even know. Whatever the fuck she is. She's sometimes human, then sometimes is that even a skeleton? Is that an animal? What is that shit?
That's Lady Death Lady.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, now I see.
She's chilling. She has a friend with her. That's Robbie the robot.
There we go. All right.
Lost in Space, right?
Yes.
From the Forbidden Planet.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'll tell you right now.
He's a great MGM star from the 1950s. But he did make appearances on Lost in Space, so you were correct about that part, Bobby P.
Okay.
Excellent job, Bobby P.
I knew the robot looked familiar. I just couldn't place it.
Yeah.
I think they fucked me over on these glasses, man. I just paid $275 for these bitches a couple weeks ago, and I can't even see. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened, man.
Yeah, you might want to return those.
Maybe they sprinkled some crack on me or some shit before they sold them to me. I don't even know. Who knows, man?
They might have put the lenses in backwards.
Maybe I'm just too stoned. Who knows? You never know. Could be. Possibly. But anyways, folks, once again, we are here. We got the whole squad here, basically. We might have some other guests that are going to jump on later. Cyberneticshark, my co-host, might jump on. We might have William from Geek Outlet Podcast jump on. We might have Andrew from GNN come on. We don't know yet. And I'll be honest with you, for the most part, to tell you the truth, I've been loving the shit out of this series, and I've been loving having these small groups and whatnot, doing these shows like this. I think it's kind of a good way to do it. It's familiar. Wouldn't mind having a couple other opinions in here too. It's always fun to have as many good people as possible. But we are having a blast doing this. We really are. And I heard some fucking people. I've tried to pay attention, but I heard some people badmouth this episode before I heard it and whatnot. And I was like, I didn't let it bother me, but I heard some shit. And I did not let it bother me. So I'm going to say I went in there wide open and I enjoyed it. So simple as that. I thought it was pretty solid, if not unspectacular. A lot of politicking, but that's part of the deal, right? Obviously, Bobby, that's Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah. I love this episode because I really thought that you really started to see everybody started to sort of choose their sides, I guess. So the lines being drawn, as it were. Yeah.
I would like to have seen a naked penis at this point. Like, they should have dropped one by now. That would have been good for this. Would help. I think it could have been benefit to the episode. I thought we were gonna get some straight up man on man action there for 1 minute, but then it didn't go down like that. But am I the only one that got that same parallel, that same connection with that relationship between what's his name, Leonis, Rhaenys? How do you pronounce his name? Lenor and his lover.
Joffrey.
I got the same connection off of that with the oh shit. What was that? What was that famous general or whatnot?
Alexander
the Conqueror. Yes.
Yep.
In the Alexander the Conqueror film, he had a male lover that was like very influential to him and like overall and whatnot and everything. They had that same kind of dynamic. So I found that interesting. That I made that connection.
They had a dynamic like that also in Game of Thrones. Renly Baratheon was trying to be king as well, but his lover was actually Sir Loras Tyrell, who was the Knight of Flowers, I believe. So it's not something it's something they've delved into before.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, you know what? With HBO, you gotta always have some gay sex or whatever and whatnot. That's how it is. It wouldn't be HBO without it. Yeah, that's how they do it. And
it wouldn't be Game of Thrones without it too, because Game of Thrones, like the history, just has a lot of it too.
Absolutely.
Deadwood's the only series I can think of. Deadwood is the only one I can think of where there was no gay anything. There was nothing gay in Deadwood. That means there were women that played with each other and whatnot and stuff, but there was really nothing gay going on with Deadwood. Everything else, Sopranos, there was the gay people. There was gay people, gay stuff. Like every other series, there's always gay stuff. The Wire, all of it. Band of the Brothers, I don't think there was any either. But either way, all right. So basically, bottom line, we're coming off of episode 4, and basically it wraps up with Otto Hightower being dismisses the hand. And essentially, if I understand correctly, you guys tell me, the series essentially feeling like he's being manipulated. He's not being played straight by his hand and whatnot and everything.
Yeah. Well, the whole reason he stopped him from being his hand anymore is because he just feels that he's pushing too hard for Aegon to be the heir.
Yes. Which is obviously flouting his decision.
Right. Because he thinks he'll have some kind of thing with the throne because his grandson will be on it. So
yes. And then of course, we had the whole deal with Daemon and with Rhaenyra finally actually having some intimacy. We still haven't figured out exactly what went down. Me and Bobby and Renee are all on different sides of this whole deal as far as like what happened. Was it a blowjob? Was it sex?
Well, from what Damon's wife was saying, maybe he just lost his. Maybe he just got impotent, just couldn't finish, as she said.
Well, wait a minute. Doesn't he have sex with the one chick? What's her name? His concubine, whatever the hell she is. Mira. What's her name? Mizira.
Well, he wakes up in bed. I don't know if they had sex.
In the first You mean in the one from the first episode?
Yeah, the brothel dancer who becomes David's paramour.
But at some point there's like at some point where he just stops because he just can't go on anymore. And then I think they sort of resume, but there is a point where he just kind of backs away.
Oh, so he's just like potentially just flat out fucking impotent. Like he can't even.
I mean, that's what seems to be the joke.
Remember he was doing the whole thing about she was pregnant, or he was alluding that she was pregnant, and then when she found out about, how ridiculous.
Yeah.
So.
I never thought about it like that. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's why they kind of rib him about it. Like a character here will say something about it, or like when he killed his wife, pretty much he called him that. I knew you couldn't finish.
Now, did you guys get the vibe that like she knew that from like past experience? Like he did try to like have sex with her at some point and just couldn't like get it, or like,
I don't know. Maybe they might have hated each other so much that they maybe never even tried.
Never even tried.
She wouldn't let him in her bed.
Well, no,
that was just disgust for him.
No, she flat out said you can fuck the sheeps or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
You know. Yeah, she's definitely a cold bitch, man. But then again, I guess Damon's not exactly a treat either. So, I mean, obviously, Damon's not afraid to commit violence against women. That's very apparent. You know what I'm saying? That's not even.
She probably didn't want to catch one of his venereal diseases.
Well, I mean, did they even have them back then?
They had to have.
Well,
if they have a plan B, T, they got to have STDs as well.
Didn't they just have like syphilis basically back then, and that was pretty much it?
Well, who knows what they had back then, but they didn't. They thought.
Who the hell even know? They didn't even know. They figured.
They thought it was the curse from Satan. And you can.
Back then, you just figured whatever.
Actually, they really right up until probably the 18th century or so. The cure for syphilis was having sex with a virgin girl.
Really?
That was that. Yeah. They thought, okay.
Oh man.
So yeah. I mean,
if it was like that now, I would pretend to be a virgin all the time. Or I would pretend to have syphilis all the time, man.
No, well, you're not a girl.
Oh, that's right. I'm not. That's right.
You'd have to have the operation and everything.
Yeah. I don't see myself becoming trans anytime soon. I mean, I like trans women sometimes and shit. I just don't think I want to go there myself. I'll be honest with you.
That's perfectly good. That's perfectly.
Oh, I enjoy it. Believe me, I do.
Absolutely.
Not all of them.
Be proud of who you.
They're not all the best things in sliced bread. I'll tell you right now. But like, once in a while you get lucky. But hell yeah, why not? You know what? I'm all about spreading that love, baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to restrict that friggin' that. I'm not going to restrict that game changing bedroom games just to biological women, man. That's unfair. You know what I'm saying? That's not inclusive. So if anything, I'm trying to hold it down for Disney and Marvel and shit and whatnot and keep it real. You know what I mean? And all
just
that.
Trying to spread the love.
That's right, baby. I'm trying to be PC. I'm trying to, social justice warrior, baby. But no, I'm just playing. Basically, before we get to that, we have that very sort of kind of funny, cruel, like horrific, like but yet comedic, like opening and whatnot in the in the Vale. We basically end up with it being flushed out by Otto Hightower to Viserys that Rhaenyra and Daemon have been witnessed in public, being intimate or whatever and whatnot, which has now basically deflowered her, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. That's the belief.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. At which point, essentially, Viserys just straight tells her, he finally balls up and he's like, you know what? You're fucking getting married. Like we're going to go see Corlys, freaking Velaryon and shit and whatnot, and you're marrying his son, and that's what's happening. And she resigns to it, clearly. Yeah. And we get that short scene with Alicent where you can't really tell with her at this point. She's getting to that point where you can't tell if she's lying or manipulating or cares anymore almost, which I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying.
Well,
that.
I think what her dad told her pretty much gave her decision, because after he told her either prepare Aegon for the throne or beg for Rhaenyra's mercy, that pretty much was the point where she made her decision of what she was going to do, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Honestly, Bobby, I think don't be afraid to go ahead. If you want to jump ahead, I don't care about following my outline right to the T and whatnot and making sure that everything is perfectly coherent. We're going to jump ahead here and there. It's just going to happen. So don't even worry about it, when it does pop up. We'll get there when we get there and kind of get into it. But But no, so basically that's pretty much it. I mean, of course, Daemon gets his ass beat, and of course tries to actually like almost manipulate Viserys into like letting him marry Rhaenyra, which I literally, looking back now, think that honestly was a situation where I honestly do believe to some degree, I could be wrong, that for some reason Daemon does feel like a unique love for her. Like there's something about her that does something for him that is not the same as other women. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe
because whenever they show him looking at her, he's like staring at her like longingly. He's not just like looking at her. Like you can tell there's something behind that.
Well, just wait until freaking they get in the bedroom and whatnot, and all of a sudden she finds out that he can't rock it like freaking the night there. You know what I'm saying? Sir Kristen or whatever and whatnot, and he's like, can't even fuck. Like at that point, Rhaenyra may not like that shit too much.
Yeah, maybe.
She's the desire to taste for flesh, if you know what I'm saying. By this point in the series, she's made that very clear. Was there a time skip? Did you guys? I didn't notice it.
Between the last episode and this one, I don't think there was.
Okay.
No, not a huge. No, that's
no.
I think.
Yeah, because I think the last scene of the last episode was him telling Rhaenyra that he fired basically Otto as his hand, and then we just go back to where he's now leaving. So there must not have been that big of a time jump, like if at all.
No, besides the fact that they are traveling by ship. To head to to head to House Velaryon.
Maybe like a few months.
Yes,
or maybe like a week or two, because I know they can't really get there within a day, or maybe they can. I'm not even sure.
No. I mean, you have to figure that what is that place called? That the Velaryon house, like where the Velaryon house is at.
Driftmark.
Driftmark.
Yeah.
No,
that's the island.
I mean, you got to figure. Yeah, I mean, from what I know from Game of Thrones and whatnot and everything, and that like in that show or whatever, that universe, all the ship taking, all the times they travel during the ship is usually always like months, at least weeks at a time, like not months. So there could have been just like a basic travel jump at that point,
Yeah, I think that's what that might have been.
Yes, and I must say that
would be dragon. I mean, if they take the dragon, you get there pretty quick.
Yeah, but the problem is with that though is that for one thing, only one person can ride it, and then for two, they'll literally only be ridden by one rider. No one else can ride them, but like the one rider. You know what I mean? Which I don't. I'll be honest with you, Bobby. I don't understand. I don't understand how it was possible that Jon Snow could ride Daenerys' dragon, like in the in the Long Night episode. I was a little bit confused with that whole deal.
Well, if he's a really
Was it the half Targaryen blood that he had? Is that what it was?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So basically that at that point, that means that the blood of the dragon is the blood of the dragon. It really is.
Well, not exactly, because in the first season, Daenerys had a brother, Viserys, I believe the second or the third.
Yeah,
and he was actually and he was actually killed they poured molten gold on his head.
Yep.
So, and then she said he wasn't a dragon. Fire cannot kill a dragon, but he was a Targaryen. Like he had Targaryen blood. So maybe it's not every single one of them.
Well, he was just a little bitch anyway. He needed to die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When you threaten to kill somebody's baby.
Yeah, man. He was an asshole. He deserved it, dude. And those those freaking what do you call them? Those horse rider dudes or whatever, whatnot, the Dothraki, they don't play around.
Yeah. No.
So they straight slave people and shit like for fun. So I mean, they rape women left and right and whatnot. They think they deserve to and all that shit. It's just crazy. But not to conflate or you know what? I've watched some of the other people that are covering these episodes. They cross over and talk about Game of Thrones during their shows too. So I think it's safe territory to do it. They do it too.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, there is.
History repeating itself, I guess.
Renee, basically, I think you understand this anyway, but basically the whole gist is that the whole concept of it is that basically the Targaryen bloodline is considered, they consider themselves the blood of the dragon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like they have a unique, bond through their blood with the dragons. And there's actually some people that believe that at some point there may have been experimentation actually between the Targaryens and the dragons themselves.
Yeah, I
Because,
mean,
you
I
know,
don't know that much about the lore, but yeah, you can that's kind of obvious in the telling how the father, he doesn't have the ability of Lenor, um he doesn't have the ability to ride a dragon. He didn't have it, even though he's one, but through his mother, who is the king's cousin. You know, she was the
yeah,
daughter of the guy. She was actually, would have been the true heir
the king who
if they
never
would.
was,
Right. The
or
king,
the queen
right,
who never
exactly.
was.
So
Yeah.
he gets his bloodline. He gets his dragon blood from her.
Yes, and she's actually I think that she's actually a really interesting character too, and we're going to get into that in a minute because I think that I honestly think that some of her scenes were some of the most poignant scenes I felt like in the whole episode were the ones that she was in.
She seems like she's like the knowledgeable voice of reason. Like she knows the way everything should be, and she's just trying to tell people, hey, this is the way it is. And even though you might not like what she's saying, she does tell the truth usually.
Yes, she's very honest.
She's a good character.
Yes,
yeah,
and she's very direct. Like you can tell that, like, what being skipped for the throne and all that shit and whatnot pissed her off and whatnot. It hurt her and whatnot and everything. And now that's why she's become so blunt and everything and whatnot. Almost, But either way, so essentially, Bobby, what do you remember offhand? What is the name of the new hand that the king has when they travel to?
I know his last name is Strong. I want to say Lionel Strong.
Okay.
He used to be the Master of Laws, but now since Otto's out,
Laris Strong.
Laris Strong is the Clubfoot guy.
Oh, that's Clubfoot. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I want to say it's Lionel's the father.
Ah, that's
and then that one guy that was smiling when Rhaenyra came back to the camp with the dead boar, and there was a guy that was like smiling at her about it. That's his other son, Harwin Strong. That's the guy who grabbed her out of the wedding.
I got it. Lionel Strong. Here we go. Lord of Harrenhal.
Right.
And head of House Strong. And Master of Laws to King Viserys Targaryen. He later replaced Sir Otto Hightower as Hand of the King. So there you go. And the actor's name is Gavin Spokes. Yes. And he actually does have somewhat, I mean, he doesn't have a poignant like role in this episode, but he does have some screen time and whatnot and everything, and there is that one scene right there in the beginning where he talks to Alicent, a little bit, right? Isn't that Alicent in the beginning where he talks about how Rhaenyra's might be sick or ill?
Oh, you mean Clubfoot?
Was that Clubfoot?
Yeah. He's sort of like how Varys was in Game of Thrones, where maybe he has a team of spies, but he just seems to know everything that's going on.
Okay, so that was Clubfoot. All right, well, I appreciate you helping me out with that.
No problem.
Okay, so basically at that point, without question, if anything, with Viserys, with Rhaenyra, he's protecting her to some extent. While he's also concerned about the kingdom and whatnot, and the Seven Kingdoms, and and the control of the throne of the house and everything and whatnot, he's literally at a point where, because of what she did with Daemon, he feels like he has to put his foot down and be like, you have to get married, in order to make sure that like she ends up being the heir. You know what I'm saying? And of course we see the politics that gets played out with that. But let's just talk about that opening scene. Now, Renee, you tell me, what did you think of that whole deal with that freaking Stone Cold bitch and all the shit she was talking to freaking Daemon and whatnot, and him popping up with his hood and all that crap? It was kind of an interesting scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really, you really see him for the evil the evil person. He's beyond, just doing it for ambition, to make, for whatever he needs to do to, get to the throne. He actually is enjoying this, being that way. And she was, really nasty. And of course, whatever, she didn't like all of it. She didn't have any choice to marry him, and so she was stuck with him. But she wasn't going to degrade herself any more than she had to. So I can't really blame her that much. But because like you say that she I guess she knew how nasty he was, what a just evil person that he really was or really is. And
Well, if she'd been forced into marriage with me, Renee, it would have been really good for her. I can tell you right now, it would have been a good spot for her.
Well,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Well, that's not part of the narrative. Fortunately, you were not her knight errant.
You're right. That's true.
Like Sir Kristen Cole was.
Right.
Well, she actually seemed more masculine than I am, to tell you the truth. She might have dominated me.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
she can be a lesbian. She can.
In the history, like in the book Fire and Blood, it's kind of insinuated that that's why they never really consummated, because she doesn't like men, like in that way. So yeah, you pretty much guessed it as far as like the history of it.
Well, I've got a shock for all you people out there that don't know about this. Believe it or not, there are lesbians out there that do like to get together with men every once in a blue moon. They don't like anybody to know about it, but they do. It happens.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
I've been blessed to experience that.
Yeah. Anyway, getting back to Damon. So anyway, he she said it looks like she may have broken her back or something when she came off the horse. So he just takes a rock and just finishes the damn. I mean,
That's how tough a bitch she was, man. She was like crushed.
But anyway, yeah. So, yeah, that was pretty shocking scene. But yeah, but anyway, that was the end of her.
Was that? I don't know.
She lasted a whole 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I know. You know what? Jeez, man, I'm telling you.
Some people can't even handle that.
I mean, seriously. What did they pay her for? What was her contract for that? Like $17? Who knows?
Jeff. Yeah, let's move on. Let's get on to the next section.
I'm just joking. Come on, it's like it wasn't a sexist thing. It was just a joke.
Come on,
I would have said the same thing about a guy. Anyways, whatever.
Yeah, well, yeah. Let's talk about the gay guys. Let's move on.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Oh no, I just wanted to point out that basically I wish I would like to see the Vale more. You know what I mean? Like it looked beautiful. You know, it really did. Like the little bit we got to see, it visually looked stunning. You know what I'm saying? So that was disappointing for me. I would love to have seen the Vale more because I've read about it in the books and whatnot, and I've heard what it's like and whatnot. I would have loved to have visually seen it.
Yeah, in Game of Thrones they show the Eyrie, which is probably one of the most unique castles that are in Game of Thrones.
Yep.
Because it's like built on top of a mountain, and then there's a door in the middle of it that they throw people in to execute them. So it's like super high up in the ground or up in the sky.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're talking about the castle where it's up on the top of the mountain, and that's actually that's the Stark guy's wife, her cousin.
But Catelyn Stark's sister.
Catelyn Stark's sister. Yeah, she's the one that she breastfeeds her child at like 9 years old and shit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He was like 10 years old and still breastfeeding.
Yeah, they were very fortified. Like in the books, and they say that like basically like you can't take that you can't take them in a physical in a battle or
because not only is it like up in the mountains, but there's like the only way in is through the Bloody Gate, they call it, which is like a long path and a gate that's pretty well like if you go in there, you can only go in there single file. Like there's only that much room in it.
Well, Bobby, you tell me what you thought of that opening scene. I just want to point out that for me, I didn't know what to friggin' think when Damon showed up with the hood on and all that shit and whatnot. I was confused. I was like, what is he doing?
I was wondering if I imagine he flew there on his dragon, and that's probably why the horse was so scared of him, because of the whole "you smell like dragon" thing. And maybe the more it seemed like the closer he would get to the horse, the more scared it would get. Maybe because he was smelling dragon on him or something. But that's something I was wondering about.
I'm glad you explained that too. I couldn't tell what the hell happened. I didn't know why all of a sudden.
Because it seemed weird that he just kind of stood there and like was kind of scaring the horse just by standing there. I thought maybe he smelled like dragon. Maybe that's why the horse was so scared.
I would imagine that the smell of dragon back then was probably pretty fucking scary. Yeah. But no, did you have anything to add on that or anything, Bobby? Anything that you took out of it?
Just I mean, you might get to it later, but his whole inheritance of runestone I mean, they kind of touched on that later in the show. Like,
yeah.
that'll be interesting to see what actually happens with that.
Yes, and of course, I mean, now how they later on managed to turn that into a hunting accident or whatever, I don't know. That I didn't really grasp, but I guess, you know, I'm sure we'll talk about that later. And probably you guys probably have your ideas. I don't even know how to address this person. Okay, hey, smiley face person. What's going on? Thank you. Thank you very much. There you go. I don't do emojis very well. That's not my thing.
Yeah, GM. Somebody named GM.
Hey.
Him.
Excellent. There you go. Thank you very much, GM. Thank you for that assist, Renee. Anyways, so hey, that's better than those porno links that we get in there sometimes, you know? I mean, shit. But so either way, yeah, so basically at that point, Damon just keeps getting more interesting and more interesting at this point. Who knows what the hell he wants to do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I have no idea really what his overall plan is. But from there, after that, we go right over, I believe, right to them on the ships, and they're on their way to go see Corlys and the Velaryons. And basically, at that point, oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Do we see? No, do I have it out of order? Yeah, that is what happens. Then we see Alicent later with Otto. Yeah, we see him on the ships. We see Viserys. Now, I noticed he was seasick right from jump and everything and whatnot, but I did not grasp until later on, until they actually got to the actual castle and whatnot, how sick he actually was. Mm-hmm. That his medical issues or whatever have clearly gotten worse.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe being on the ships probably doesn't help either, right? It can't be.
Yeah.
You know? No. I imagine sea travel back then was probably pretty rough. They make it seem that way in the books. They do. Mm. So
yeah, you know, even when the Dothraki were in the ships going back to Westeros, half of them were puking their guts out.
What did y'all think of how visually stunning the ships were? Mm-hmm. And that I love that. I really did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think it's really cool how each ship has like the sigil of their house on the head of it. I thought that's really cool.
I had a hard time choosing between the picture of Rhaenyra that I used for the thumbnail or between the ships. I wasn't sure which one to use. I went with Rhaenyra because it was a really good shot of her, like a side shot of her face. Right. I think she looks great on the thumbnails. I mean, she is the main character if you think about it. I think, right? So
yeah.
If you want to even call it that. So basically at that point, I mean, they don't spend much time on the ship. There really isn't that much activity that goes on there. They basically just pull right up, you know, to Driftmark, and there's no meeting at all. Like there's no respectful, you know, kingly reception at all. There's nobody there to greet them or whatever. And from there on, we come to the realization, which I didn't realize after episode 4, that Viserys actually House Velaryon is so powerful and rich that literally so influential that he actually has to bargain and negotiate with Corlys and shit and whatnot and everything for his
and
son.
Plus I believe he's got the biggest fleet I think at this point in Westeros as well, so he doesn't have just a lot of influence, he has a lot of power as well.
No, he's a big time player.
Yeah,
he is. Obviously that's clearly why he's such an obvious choice for Viserys, besides the Velaryon aspect to want to.
It's so obvious it was even an obvious choice for Viserys.
Yes.
But he chose to marry Alicent instead.
Yes. And so at that point, basically, we end up with what I found to be a very fascinating sort of dynamic of actually watching Viserys and Corlys flush out this negotiation process to some extent, right? Sort of how some cultures today still in Southeast Asia and the Middle East actually still do arranged marriages and stuff like that and whatnot. You know, I know people that still have that kind of thing going on in their life.
Yeah, I worked with a guy once who was in an arranged marriage. He was from, I believe, India.
Yeah. So at that point, I found that very interesting. And actually, that's what I wanted to ask you guys next. Bobby, what did you think of that whole deal? Watching Corlys and Viserys go back and forth You know,
I thought it was.
the-
It seemed a
But
little confusing because of the whole thing with the last name. How they'll be born Velaryon, but once the son or daughter ascends to the throne, they have to change their name to Targaryen. I don't know. It just seemed kind of weird. But I mean, Viserys did have a point. Is that if the name stopped with Rhaenyra, then the name would stop with Rhaenyra, like pretty much effectively. Like no Targaryen would be born after that because they would all have Velaryon last names.
that's right. That would basically almost like kill the not the bloodline, but the name. The
Right.
name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's like when technically when Prince Philip married
Yes. Same
Queen
thing.
Elizabeth, he took her name. He had to take her last name.
Yes.
I mean, I think they kind of fuzzed it around, and I think now they're. I think his actual surname was Mountbatten, and so I think now their name is Windsor Mountbatten or something like that. So they've kind of added it back in. But yeah, I think that's how it happened.
But that's a stupid fucking name. It is not exactly like roll off the tongue.
It doesn't roll. Yeah. Right.
What, Mountbatten?
Yeah.
It's actually an anglicized. I can't think of it's actually a German name. I think but Mountbatten is the anglicized version of it because that whole clan, that whole family, actually they come from Germany. They come from Hanover and I think couple other provinces or countries, what they were little countries back then. They had their own kings and their own kingdom and whatnot. And at one point, I think her uncle King was I think his name, I can't remember what his, no, it's Victoria. It was going way on back. Queen Victoria's uncle was also he was king of England and king of Hanover at the same time. So it's kind of weird like that it went around.
Like I guess to try to connect it to like nowadays, like where we're at right now, I won't lie. Like I don't care how this is viewed or whatever. I don't mean this in any kind of negative way. I believe in equality of the sexes 100%. I do. I believe all about it, except for the bedroom. At that point, that's a whole different story. But as far as outside of the bedroom, whatnot, and everything, I don't believe in control. I don't want to tell them what to do, we are equal as far as I'm concerned. And which means that that means if you're gonna be with me, you got to work and shit and like actually do something. Like I'm not just gonna fucking do everything, like that kind of stuff too. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. I'm not trying to be like that. But no, bottom line, I've been blessed that like all the women I've had children with, the two women that I've been thankful to have kids with, that they on their own gave my children. They took out. Well, one of them, my ex-wife took on my last name, and no problem with it. We didn't even have a conversation about it. But I can tell you right now, if I ever get married again, I will expect like her to take my last name. I will, or I won't marry her. Like straight up, I won't take her name.
Okay, well, thank you. Okay, Jeff.
What is this the truth? I won't do it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just who I am.
I don't know. Honestly, what does that got to do with what we're talking about?
I'm just trying to.
Let's just go back to the TV show, okay?
I was just trying to connect to like the now and then. That's all. Anyways.
Well, you're not royalty, so what's that got to do with it? I was talking about
right.
how royalty did stuff.
I'm not going to be royalty anytime soon either. No. So what did you think, Renee? What did you get out of what did you take out of that whole negotiation and whatnot? And what did you think about the relationship between Corlys and Viserys itself? That impact?
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously they were like the rival houses, and House Targaryen wound up with the crown, and he had to take second place and married the rightful. He would have been the king consort had the heir rightful, or as he saw it, rightfully went to his wife. So yeah, I mean, it was all to his advantage to get his son married. To and whatever. It was just like you said, it was a political marriage. Everybody knew it. Everybody was aware of it. They knew he was gay. They whatever. The point was that he would be reconnected to the crown in a way that he wasn't up to that point. So yeah, it was all advantages for him. And I guess, like you say, they needed to get the talk over about her being in some sort of a liaison with Damien, and get that rumor squashed and whatnot. And what better way than to have a marriage? And so that's what they came up with.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
and
well
did you?
played. Like you say, it was well played. And of course, Paddy Considine, who's playing the king there, I think we saw in other episodes, he's just kind of getting sicker and sicker, and it's
Yes.
and it's just his whatever that blood poisoning or whatever he's got going on, or leprosy or whatever. It's just
Is it grayscale? Is grayscale, Bobby?
No, actually, I think the actor himself confirmed that he does have leprosy on his arm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah. I thought maybe
okay.
it was something from because he cut his fingers originally on the throne itself,
Mm-hmm.
and then he lost those 2 fingers, and then I guess somehow he got leprosy from that, because it's pretty much all on the arm that he lost his 2 fingers.
Yeah, because there was a scene where he's having a couple episodes back where he's having sex with Allison, and you can see blackish patches on his back, and stuff. So he's not a well person, not at all.
Yeah.
No, for a minute there, Bobby, I thought you were actually saying that the actor actually came in with leprosy to play the role, like he had leprosy.
That's method acting 101.
Anyways, but no, that's a good point. But I mean, did you guys feel like? I mean, Renee, did you feel like Corlys was actually in any way, shape, or form sort of just like kissing Viserys' ass to some extent, a little bit, with like the diplomacy and then the politeness and whatnot and everything and all that and whatnot, and like the compliments and whatnot and everything, and we're blessed to have this happen and whatnot and everything. Do you think he was kind of gaslighting him, like knowing that like Rhaenyra was his damaged goods, or was that like genuine?
Oh no, he wasn't ass kissing, because he point blank didn't show up with an entourage as he should have been greeted as his king, as his sovereign. So he should have been prepared, at least to have some of them come out and shake hands and whatnot before they retire or whatever. He's playing him. He knows Corlys knows he's got the advantage here, so he's making the best deal he can for his son and his family. So yeah, he's and like you say, he knows King, what's his name, King
Viserys.
King Viserys. He knows that he's Viserys is Viserys has a lot of wiggle room. He's willing to give it to a lot of BS and whatnot, because he's pragmatic. He wants to get the job done too. So they know each other. So yeah, there's a lot going on back and forth. But
I mean, they're kind of friends, aren't they? I mean, aren't they basically like, Bobby? Aren't they friends to some extent?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like they were kind of both walking on eggshells with each other, because even though like this deal is, it's going to work out this way, it's going to work out this way, but it's still kind of a compromise. And Corlys doesn't want to fuck it up. Viserys doesn't want to fuck it up. They know that this is pretty much the best deal, so it's like you kind of eat crow, I guess, and like just take it. But I mean, it is beneficial for both of them. But then they still don't want to piss off the other guy to blow the whole thing.
Yeah, and as far I couldn't, and I don't think, I'm not aware. I don't know if Viserys already knew and Rhaenyra already knew that that he was gay, and he wasn't even into women anyway. I'm not sure if that was like I don't think
Viserys knew that, because Corlys and his mother seemed to know, and Rhaenyra seemed to know, but I don't think Viserys was aware of that. Yeah.
So basically, then at that point, not to jump ahead too much, but that honestly really falls into place when we actually do see Rhaenyra go out with geez, why am I struggling with his name so badly? With Laenor, and they actually go for that walk. They do talk. It's very cold at first. It's very unemotional. There's no romantic spark at all. Of course, how could you have one, right? Although they did know each other as kids. They're not like new to each other. They've known each other.
Yeah, they've known each other.
Yeah, so if anything, she probably would know then. She would have known, if anything. It makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that whole talk about people who like geese or goose and people who like duck. Like,
yeah.
she knew exactly what she was talking about when
Oh
she
yeah,
was talking about that.
yeah. And at that point, I think that they were both in very much in agreement with the deal that they ended up making and whatnot, that Rhaenyra suggested, as far as what she actually got from Daemon, if you think about it. Like, that's who taught her that whole kind of mentality, that, we'll do this, so we got to do what we got to do, and then we're going to do our own thing. You know what I mean? And it'll be whatever. That's probably what basically
the political arrangement.
Yeah. Yeah. And if anything, if anything, that's exactly probably essentially what, what Rhaenyra wants. He basically wants to be with his lover or whatever. He doesn't want to be with Rhaenyra.
Right.
So I mean, it's just interesting. It's interesting how like everything is a trade-off. It's all political. Everything is freaking negotiation. Everything almost is like in some way, shape, or form, like a give and take, like kind of situation. Like, it's interesting. I find it interesting. What about did you notice, Renee, that during that dialogue between Viserys and Corlys, he did turn to his wife a couple times and kind of like look for her approval, right? Now, you tell me, guys. To me, again, that lens to me is I got the same vibe from them as kind of similar to how Viserys talks about how much he cares about his dead wife, and how he's never going to be the same because he basically killed her or whatever, wanting the son so bad and everything. I'm not going to say that I know that his relationship with his wife was the same as Corlys's and the princess, the former princesses and whatnot and everything. They seem to really be in love with each other. If anything,
Yeah,
like
yeah, that
I got that too.
that came out. I mean, it's a love match, and they respect each other, and he takes her advice, appreciates her advice, and Rhaenyra's he said the same thing. I mean, when he was talking to Allison talking to his daughter about his wife, that he relied on, he said that she made him a man, remember he said that, and then
yep.
And he relied on her advice and everything, and she was and her wisdom and whatnot, and he was missing that now, and he had to make his decisions on his own, and so so I think they're very similar relationship between them, between the two couples, as it were. So
But there's a contrast.
Yeah, I think there's very similar, like you say, two men similar in temperament. So I think there's a definite respect between the two, even though, Corlys is kind of jacking him around at this point, because he can. But I think that's within their circle, within their world of not being among commoners, that they respected each other. We look at them, see them as a bunch of creeps, but they didn't.
Well, no. What I found interesting about it was, again, the fact that, again, it flushes out this whole dynamic where now I feel like the relationships are very different because Viserys is a totally different man than Corlys. Totally different man. Corlys is passionate. He's direct. He's an initiator. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a doer. Like he's a passionate guy. Viserys is very, very passive. You know what I mean? Like, he needs a woman behind. There's a reason a woman made him a man. Like that. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason for that. And at that point, I think probably, if anything, his wife was probably similar to the role that Allison plays with him now, as almost like clean up after his bullshit kind of deal, and also be his backbone at the same time. Whereas with honestly with Corlys and with Rhaenys, they seem to genuinely actually be in love and respect each other and openly communicate with each other and whatnot and everything. So there is a difference there. But I just do find it interesting that even in this sort of a old time where women are not treated very well, even in these arranged marriages, these men fall in love with these women. And they mean a lot to them. So I just think it's interesting. But
I mean that happens even in arranged marriages. They look up and they you know, they become friends and they fall in love, and it becomes a great partnership. You know, it's you know, maybe not the norm of how those things go, but you know, it does happen.
Yes.
And these women held a lot of power too. I mean, they weren't just like, you
oh
know,
yeah,
they got respect just from that alone.
I've explained it to people before that didn't understand that in conversation. And I didn't even watch all Game of Thrones. I've explained that to them, that like the women back then knew what the hell they were doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were playing their own political games and shit and whatnot, and do what they had to do to survive and get where they needed to go and whatnot. Like, they were just as manipulative and calculative and like strategic about shit as anybody in playing their positions and whatnot. What can you blame them? I mean, shit. You know, honestly. And with Allison,
in Game of Thrones, there's numerous female characters who started like young and naive, and then by the end of the series, they're like very well versed in survival and just more cunning, just because that's the way the world is, and that's the way they have to be.
Well, what do you guys agree with me at all? Do you enjoy? I get an enjoyment. I find an enjoyment in series like The Walking Dead, for instance, where I love watching characters evolve over time from season to season and whatnot, and become almost different people because of like trauma or like situations or stress or loss, right? I enjoy it. I watch and find it entertaining and interesting to see evolutions with people or devolutions, you know what I'm saying, and have them like come apart instead of like, you know, yes, I that kind of stuff is interesting to me, and I think that it's important to kind of point out that like we're covering the Lord of the Rings series right now, the Rings of the Power, you know, the Amazon Prime Video series, and it's a different kind of series. It's for a general audience. It's not for adults like HBO series are, right? This is adult fare, and I'm watching the episodes of that and everything and whatnot. They're okay. But I'm telling you right now, as far as for me, as a person, as my personal opinion, this House of Dragon series is killing that series. Like, they're just smoking them. But again, I like this kind of content. I like serious adult themed content. You know, I don't know about you, Renee. I've never asked you before if you actually enjoy non-adult themed like drama, like serious type content or whatnot, or if you actually enjoy your occasional, I don't know, like childlike type film or whatever, or, you know, more general audience type film.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I don't necessarily, one doesn't have to damn the other. You know what I'm saying? One style doesn't have to be better than the other.
No.
Certainly this series is adult. It's not written for teenagers. It's not like what was the Mockingjay, what was that survival game or whatever it was?
The Hunger Games.
Hunger Games.
Yeah, it's not written. You know, that's a sort of a different thing. And then certainly Marvel's written for more general audience. You know, it's and the trick is to make the movie great by not using a lot of these other easier tropes. I mean, when you have these violent, just horrific scenes, I mean, they can get very creative, and they can just really just horror, because that's what they want to do. They want to horrify you. They want to disgust you and just shock you and stuff like that. So it's appropriate for them to do it. And I don't shirk. I don't turn away from that type of violence even though I might have to close my eyes a little bit, but as far as it being presented, I'm not going to stop it from being presented or criticize it in that way. But if you can make a great rocking movie that can do the same things that this particular great House of Dragon can do, and do it without all the violence, and do it in a different way, you know, then more power to them. You know, let them do it. Let them try it.
Yes, most definitely. And I think probably, if anything, you tell me, Bobby, it's probably easier to create a TV series or do a movie that's actually adult themed from jump. And like, that's all you have. That's what you're doing. And you don't have to worry about making everybody happy all across the board. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's you might have like a specific, like mindset going into it. If it's more for adults, like Like I wouldn't know the first thing about writing a kids movie, but I would like to try writing like a regular adult type movie, but I just can't relate to kids. So like I wouldn't even know how to write a movie that would be geared towards kids.
Well, no, I think you're missing the point. It doesn't have to be geared toward kids. It would just written. It can still be written for an adult audience.
General audience, yes.
Yeah, but it as far as anything, it can be very dark themed. It can be even be violent. You can have certain amount of sex and whatnot in it, but it has to be acceptable to a general audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't go into the graphic, banging away sex.
You can't do anal. There can't be no anal. No anal allowed.
Yeah. So, but for instance, there's a scene. It's a bedroom scene where she calls. Allison calls in Sir Kristen. And if you look on the walls, there's tapestries. Now, this is her bedroom, her bed chamber. It's quite pornographic. I mean, that just, whoa. You didn't even see that on Greek pottery. I saw those tapestries.
If I was hanging out with Queen Allison or whatever, I wouldn't even notice those tapestries. I wouldn't even notice that shit.
But yeah, go back and look at it. It's quite explicit. But anyway,
she's a very attractive woman. I'd be more focused on her.
But so I mean, anyway, what I'm saying is, I'm not down on this type of drama or anything like that. But sometimes it can be easier to do. It's far easier to shock by showing a guy getting his balls cut off than not showing it. Just showing him scream off camera. I mean, the trick to Jaws was that the mechanical shark didn't work that well, and
yes.
Spielberg had to hide it and do so that actually built up because we never saw the shark. We never really saw the shark till they're in the we need a bigger boat. That was when we really got a good shot of the shark, and so yeah, and no one's come close to doing what Spielberg did with that device, with that conceit.
No, and I think that, I mean, for me, now, honestly, this is the last thing I'm going to say about this. I'm going to get back right on my outline. But for me, I was talking earlier to somebody about how with Game of Thrones, was it you, Bobby? I can't even remember.
It might have been.
Yeah, I've had a lot of conversations today. Either way, bottom line, the reason why I stopped watching The Walking Dead was because in like the 5th season or whatever, at the end, they killed off Glenn. And I heard about it. I knew it was going to happen, that Negan was going to bash his skull in or whatever and whatnot. I wasn't worried about the gore or whatever or seeing it. That wasn't what bothered me. I could not watch that finale episode. I had to stop right there. I could not watch it because I knew that we were going to lose characters that I loved, right, that I connected with on a personal level, and Glenn especially. And the thought of losing him like that, I just couldn't watch it. I couldn't do it. So I stopped. It took me years to go back and watch that shit.
I want to say that's around the same time I stopped watching it, because I don't remember any of the scenes that Negan was in, because I don't think I've watched any of them.
I'm not impacted by gore at all. I could care less. I've seen all kinds of crazy shit before in my own life. That shit doesn't even bother me. It's not that. I guess it either has something to do with my own emotional type of way of being who I am, and then maybe my traumatic brain injury where I just like really heavily connect with certain characters on these shows, and they become important to me to where just the idea of the fact they were going to kill off Glenn, I was like, shit, I can't watch this. I can't do it. Like I couldn't do it.
Yeah, because Glenn was one of those characters where you see if Glenn dies, we riot. Like he was a well-loved character.
He had that kind of evolution as a character throughout the seasons, right? Now,
yeah.
Renee, I don't know if you watched Walking Dead or not. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't see one episode.
That's okay. I just want to point out right now, I thought, at least for me, that those first like 3 or 4 seasons of that show were probably the best TV at that time. There was nothing else out there that was better than that.
Good. I've heard it's really good. I just zombies and
they found a balance, Renee.
That's kind of like not something I want to watch.
No, they found a balance though. They had a great cast of actors and actresses playing the roles. They had a great ensemble cast that were all outstanding at their characters. And they found a nice balance, like, you know, between the gore and the zombies to like personal relationships and like watching people break down and suffer from like what was going on.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
I just never liked the I just never liked the zombie genre.
No?
Mm-mm.
Oh, well, you know what? Then you and Grandmaster would get along on that very much because he absolutely hated the zombie episode of the What If.
Oh, I didn't say. I don't remember seeing that. I may have missed it.
That's my favorite one.
I'm okay if it's a
Yeah,
little
that was
bit,
a good one.
you know, a little bit of zombie stuff, but just zombie all the time. No.
Now we're gonna get. They're gonna. Did they say that they're gonna do a zombie? They're gonna do like a whole zombie series now. They already said that.
What Marvel?
Yeah, they're gonna do one. They're gonna do a whole
Yeah.
series.
I think I heard something about that too.
Well, let them do it. I mean, you know, that's fine. That's fine.
But I mean, Marvel Zombies, that's like a really unique kind of. It's not like every other zombie story.
And
like
I called
these
it,
zombies
Bobby.
are what's that?
I called it when we reviewed it. I called it and said right there. I said Marvel Studios and Disney are gonna either make a movie out of this, or they're gonna do a TV show off this. They're going to. I guarantee it.
Walking around rotting human flesh just doesn't. I just don't. Ugh. It's just one thing I don't want to look at.
Yeah, but when it's like animated and it's like cartoon and whatnot, like it's not as bad.
I mean, like I say, if it's you know, you know, when they do comedy zombies and stuff like that, I'm not talking. I'm talking just. Anyway.
What are you talking like a zombie now? Are you talking like a zombie
I
now?
don't think there are any zombies in House of Dragons.
No.
Game of Thrones
I think
does
the
though.
crab people
Game of
were
Thrones,
about-
yes.
That crab guy was about as close as we got.
No, Game of Thrones, definitely. And I'm sure we're probably going to see some interesting freaking characters across the board throughout the span of this. Who knows how many seasons they're going to do this show, how long they're going to stretch it. But anyway, so back to basically the episode. So basically, at that point, Rhaenyra, you know, and her betrothed, you know, Lenore came to the agreement. Essentially, Rhaenyra basically handled it. She essentially suggested it, yet at the same time, and like almost forced it, and like made it clear that's how things were going to work. And you know, and he seemed pretty fine with it. They're going to do what they had to do, and have sex and have babies and shit, and get that out of the way, and then do their own thing. And I felt like, you know, you tell me, Bobby, Renee, I felt like the influence of Daemon is a major impact on her. Like he's almost like a quasi lover to her, mentor to her, like parent to her in a way. Like it's almost like a weird dynamic like that, you know? Or maybe I'm overplaying it. I don't know.
Well, it might be their dragon blood. You know, they both have strong affinity with their dragons, and so maybe that plays into it somehow.
Well, maybe she was protected. Like no, there was no. Maybe she was protected in a way where it took Daemon getting her out of the castle to be able to tell her, "Hey, you can do whatever the hell you want. You can marry whoever, and then just bang whoever you want to after that." That seemed like a very new concept to her. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of freed her up.
Yeah.
So,
and she sees that kind of Daemon is kind of doing whatever he wants, and pretty much getting away with it. So that might be like a huge influence on her to, hey, I want to be just like Daemon and do whatever I want and be able to get away with it too.
Yes, which could end up leading to some kind of situation where maybe she'll become more sinister and like evil and like unethical and shit and whatnot because of him.
Oh yeah,
you know, like that'll rub off too. You know, which I'm sure will play into the later seasons when we actually get into the real Greens versus the Blacks or whatever the hell it is, like actual like disagreement or war or whatever you want to call it. But basically from there, you know, after the compromise, you know, between Rhaenyra, I wanted before that actually occurred, I believe, either right after that or before, we had that confrontation / conversation between Otto Hightower and Alicent, where Alicent was defending Rhaenyra to him for a minute, you know, like saying, you know, I believed her when she said that he didn't, you know, she didn't do anything with Daemon. And he basically explained to her flat out, like, look, Rhaenyra is not going to work. Like, she's not good for the Seven Kingdoms. Like, her reign will not work. Like, it will be forced. There will be contested.
Right.
You know, right? And I mean, you tell me, Renee, Bobby, what did he essentially say to her? Like that you have to make sure that Aegon becomes king.
Yeah, to protect their
You know.
lives. All of them will be.
Yes.
Their heads will be on the chopping block once the king dies.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yes.
a big running theme in Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon is that people who have children, there's nothing more important to those people than their children. So for him to kind of say, hey, if you don't push Aegon to be the ruler, your children are going to end up dead. And that's a huge driving force, not just in this series, but in Game of Thrones as well. A lot of motivations were done to save their children or to protect their children or something like that. It's like a huge theme.
Oh, and you know what? I wanted to mention this a couple episodes ago and I forgot. From jump, you could tell immediately that Rhaenyra feels threatened by her brothers and sisters. There's no connection there at all. There is no stepbrother, stepsister shit going down with those kids that Alyssa's having. She doesn't want anything to fucking do with them. There's not going to be any kind of relationship there or whatever, whatnot, and everything. And if anything, she doesn't want. I mean, she almost, I think, in a way, is almost doesn't even look at them like she wouldn't even care if she had to kill one of them or something like that or whatever. Almost, they're in her way, in a way, And I think that's just going to continue to get worse and worse over time. They're a threat to her.
Too, they don't have dragon's blood. They weren't dragon's eggs.
No, and they're not, and they weren't born by her mother that she loves. They were born by Alicent.
Mm-hmm.
But they actually do have dragon eggs. Well,
yes.
Actually, they do have Targaryen blood, but I can't remember if I think one of them had a dragon egg at birth, and then one of them claims a dragon after. He didn't grow up with it; he just claimed it.
They had the
but
dragon blood.
They do, right? Yeah, they do have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do have connections with the dragons.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe I missed that part then.
Yeah, no, they do. I mean, if
that might be coming up, that might be what we saw in the
movies. Right.
Exactly. I mean, if you sleep with a Targaryen, if you get impregnated by a Targaryen, you are basically at that point you have the blood of the dragon in you. That's now a part of you. Maybe you're not full blooded or whatever, right? But I don't think it matters at that point.
No.
No. But now, Bobby, you can explain this to me? Is Corlys's family basically the only family outside of the Targaryens that still have dragons on their own? I thought it was only the Targaryens that had dragons.
They do, but the only reason they have dragons is because Laenor has Rhaenys' blood, so he's part Targaryen, and Rhaenys has always been Targaryen. So I think, as far as I know, those are the only two dragons that they have at this moment. They don't have they don't do the whole dragon egg in the crib thing like the Targaryens do.
Okay.
I believe even in old Valyria, I don't think Velaryons had dragons. I think they just were the ships.
And from what house was it that the young girl or whatever and whatnot, or the niece of the king or whatever, or the king of the niece of the house of Targaryen or whatever, was the one that had the dream that warned the Targaryens they needed to leave. What's it called?
Valyria,
old Valyria, for the Middle Earth because of the devastation was going to come.
Mm. Yeah,
you remember what was that a Targaryen?
Yeah, she was Daenerys, I want to say her name was. I believe she was related to. She was a cousin of Aegon or his father's niece. So
Renee,
she was
Renee, do you understand that kind of deal? Basically, that essentially that they at one point in this old Valyria that's southern, it's south from where they're at right now in Middle Earth, and in Seven Kingdoms, there was High Valyria or Old Valyria, where basically it was the biggest, most magical city country out there, and dragons were plentiful, they were all over the place, they basically. They hung out in the heat how they call earthquakes, volcanoes. That like right, Bobby, was that what they like to be?
Yeah, because it was the volcanoes erupting. That's what destroyed them.
Yes.
But they were like the Roman Empire. Like they were the height of civilization at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yep. And it was literally a Targaryen young woman that had a dream and a prophecy that the whole Targaryen family needed to leave Valyria. They're the only ones that did. They took all their dragons and took off and went to the Seven Kingdoms.
So that was sort of like Atlantis. It got destroyed.
Yes.
It got destroyed in a cataclysm or whatever. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. People can't even go back there now. Yeah. It's like haunted.
Yeah. It's just that's where the stone men go. The guys.
You can't go there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a couple places like that in this universe where like literally you can't go there. Like there's ruined cities where if you go there, they're so haunted with ghosts and demons and shit and whatnot and black magic that you won't come out alive. It doesn't matter what you do. You're dead. Anybody, what do they say, Bobby? Anybody who goes back to old Valyria doesn't come back.
Yeah, usually. Yeah, because that's where they stand. When somebody has grayscale, it like takes over their mind and they become animalistic. That's usually where they send them. They send them to the ruins of old Valyria.
Yep. And then at that point, Ashai is even further south of Valyria, I believe, isn't it? Essentially, farther east. Mm-hmm. Now, Ashai, Renee, is where the black magic comes from. That's where all the sorcerers and shit come from.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which I'm hoping we get some of that in this series. I really do. I'd like to see some. I'm looking forward to that. I like that aspect. I do. I like the mystical shit and like the magic and all that. Mm-hmm. But now we get to the part where I really wanted to talk about, and that was the dynamic between Corlys and Rhaenys Targaryen and that conversation that they had, where Corlys flat out said, stood up for her. It was like, you should be the fucking king. Like, you should be running the kingdom. You should be sitting in the iron chair right now. Like that, they took that from you, which shows. I thought that was showed a lot. Like, very compelling. That I don't believe that he's not patriotic or whatever. I don't believe that he's not faithful to the king and whatnot and everything, and that he wants to create any kind of like civil war or turmoil. But he loves his wife. He does.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he's passionate about the thing, that whole situation. And I felt like, and you can go ahead, Bobby, on that and start off on that. For me, I felt like that was one of the most impactful, it wasn't that long, one of the most impactful scenes of the whole episode for me was their dynamic, their relationship, and how she talks and handles things.
Yeah. I mean, I've always loved their dynamic, even from the first episode when they were sitting in the tournament and they're just kind of chewing the gossip with each other. Like you can tell that they've got like a very long and trusting, and they're just like best friends as well as being in love. But yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting that at this point he was like, you should have been chosen for the Iron Throne. And then she was just kind of like, I've kind of gotten over that. Right. I've kind of gotten over that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, did you see basically say it? Didn't you say she didn't want it?
She might have. I know she said she got over it. Like she doesn't really think about it as much anymore, which I thought was kind of interesting because it seems like he's more obsessed with it than she is.
Well, look at look at what it did to Viserys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no, but go ahead, Bobby. I mean, was there anything else with it? Anything that you took out of that? I mean, was there anything with that where? I mean, the entire conversation, just them talking about the partnership between Rhaenyra and their son and whatnot and everything, and Corlys talking about how he's a young man, he'll grow, and all that whatnot, and he needs to learn the pleasures of a woman and all that shit or whatever, which I guess was him them trying to think like him trying to explain or that he needed to go ahead and like get with Rhaenyra. Or whatever. Well,
I think it was just him being in denial because he's like, he's like, oh, he'll grow out of it, like as if him being homosexual is going to be a phase.
Oh, like it was some straight like shock therapy.
Yeah, so shit. He was like, well, I mean, I think he always suspected that what Lenore was, and he just was kind of in denial about it. I think, but I mean, his wife knows what he is, so I think he's just kind of got to accept it.
Yeah, I mean, either way, Renee, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, talking about their relationship, and I think Corlys understands that his wife, Princess Rhaenys, whatever her name. They all seem to have the same name.
Yeah. There's a lot of everybody's like a third and fourth and
you know,
fifth of their name.
Y's and RH's in their names. But anyway,
Yeah. Daenerys,
yeah,
Jaehaerys,
he knows
Viserys.
she would have been a far better monarch than her cousin.
Mhm.
You know, he's done as well as he could, but she would have been more unifying. She was smarter. She had more diplomatic skills and respect to the people and everything. And he just resents that to a large degree. And but like she said, she accepted her fate early on, and you know she was going to make the best of her life as it was given to her, and that's what she's continuing to do now by trying to get her son married back into the family so that she can get some more of the dragon blood back into the line, or so I don't know, whatever her rationale is. But of course, she wants to see him as well off as he can, and yeah, I think he's Dad's sort of in a little bit, and then well, he'll grow out of it. You know, he's just fooling around. It's just young, sowing his wild oats, yada yada. But he's definitely in love with his knight errant guardian, and he has a very, very sad fate, which I guess we'll talk about next. The high point of the wedding scene, the high point of the show.
I think the high point was the man-on-man romance and whatnot and everything and intimacy. No? Okay.
It was nice.
Well,
It was nice.
Okay. Yeah,
romantic.
It was very romantic, yes. Yeah, I don't think Corlys quite understands how entrenched his son is like with that whole deal, Right. I don't think he's gonna be outgrowing that anytime soon. I loved that whole thing. I really did. And I want to go ahead really quick and point out the actual name of the actress that plays the character that we're talking about right now. And that would be, of course, blah, blah, blah. Not blah, 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 obviously. Alison Hightower is Olivia Cook. Who's a gorgeous woman, gorgeous brown-haired woman. She's very, very attractive. Good actress too. Great actress. And now Steve Toussaint, who plays Lord Corlys Velaryon, I've heard of him. I have. And as far as the Queen that never became, or whatever you call her, the Queen that never happened, she is played by. Let's see. That's Rhaenyra. That's Daemon. Oh, that's Rhys Ifans that plays Otto Hightower. I didn't even realize that. I actually know him too. Okay, here we go. Eve Best is the actress's name that plays Princess Rhaenys Targaryen. King Viserys' cousin and wife of Lord Corlys Velaryon. So either way, now. Moving on, I guess, from the the wonderful dynamic of the relationship between Corlys and his wife, we basically then get the gay, the man-on-man action with Laenor, which is interesting, of course. Not really worth talking about, really, as far as I'm concerned, but Kristen, of course, we knew this coming. There was no way around it. That Rhaenyra was going to end up entrapping Kristen Cole. And he was going to end up becoming pussy whipped or whatever, and ended up dead over her ass. It was coming. There was no way around it. Well, that's what happened. Christian Cole finally declares his love for Rhaenyra and gets all romantic. And he's like, we're going to sail the world and everything and be refugees and shit and everything and whatnot and be in hiding and all this crap and whatnot, And Rhaenyra's like, fuck that. I'm not doing all that. What, are you kidding me? Nah, she wasn't that bad, but I mean, she was like, I'm not doing that. That doesn't sound good. I don't like that. I've got a duty here, which I don't really think she even really cared that much about. I think she really was more against the whole idea of living like a pauper. Was that probably what she wanted to do? But I mean, were you guys surprised at all by that? I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, I thought he was. I thought we saw Sir Kristen. He felt bad about what he did. I mean, he
Well,
broke
yeah,
his
he did.
Well,
Yeah.
well, he broke his vows. He broke. See, and I don't think maybe they stressed that in this series too much. But if it's modeled after actual knighthood, chivalry, and all that, that they would take vows of chastity and to God, to Jesus, and everything that then they would protect. They would be assigned maybe to protect a lady and a princess or something. And so they had to have that because they had to be above suspicion. Their job was to protect her life, not to make love to her. Stuff like that. Of course, did that stuff like that happen? Of course, it probably did. Stuff went on and whatnot. But even so, he's a very honorable young man, and he's done this what he sees as a terrible thing, and he kind of inadvertently confesses. When Allison draws him into her and she's trying to find out what he knew about her and Damien.
Yes. Yep.
And he just inadvertently, in his guilt, he just, it was me, my lady, it was me, I did it, and blah, blah, blah.
That whole scene, I was like, Kristen, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't.
He's such an innocent. He is, and that's his innocence. I think that really hasn't been stressed too much in the series.
And it impacted her. No, but it impacted her because it reminded her of how flawed her fucking existence is and her marriage is and whatnot and everything and how fake it is. Well, she's depressed. She's not happy.
But it also gave her some power over Rhaenyra.
But that's what's so great about this series. That's so great about this type of show is that there are so many different things going on. Like, at the same time, you could see that that chivalrousness of him, that honesty, that deep honesty, and that deep integrity of his knighthood meant a lot to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at what she's used to. Her freaking husband is some weak ass pussy. He's a freaking he sits in the Iron Throne. He's a little bitch. His wife's got to tell him what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He's dying. And shit.
Yeah. I think she's attracted to him. I think that's what saves his life in the end.
Can you blame her?
Jumping forward, he's going to do the honorable thing and fall on his sword, and then at the last moment, reprieve. She saves his life, and of course that's where it ends.
Yeah, because look, I mean, look, weak ass, pussy ass dudes don't do so well with women to begin with these days. Back then, that didn't play so well with chicks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you weren't getting too far with the whole weak ass, can't do shit for myself. You got to defend me physically. Like, I can't even defend you type dudes. Like, that's not going to play for you too well. That's not going to work too well back in those days. So no, I mean, at that point, no, I just felt like it was sort of, for me, a point where I can't say that I'm sure I'm accurate as to where Allison's at right now. I think
you're dead on the money.
Go ahead.
You're dead on the money.
No, she's conflicted. She's not 100% into what she doesn't know what she should do. She's not 100% manipulating everything. She wants to be good sometimes. You don't. There's the influence of Otto, right, and the family, the house.
Up to this point, she has been the dutiful wife to King Rhaenyra, whatever his name is, Rhaenys. And
Rhaenys, what the fuck is that?
She even backed up. She backed up Princess Rhaenyra.
Yes.
To her own father. Her own father was banished. Trying to get the message out to what's going on with Damien, and so she's done everything right. So, and she's still getting the shaft. So I think that's what the point is. And so on the money, she's conflicted at this.
No,
which way is she going to go?
And it was Otto, right, that essentially put her in the position to marry the series. Mm-hmm. He's the one that pushed it.
Exactly.
I mean, so at that point, I think that it's one of those situations where she's kind of half and half on things, maybe, or or maybe Otto and the house, like the you know, that whole angle is the whole thing with her right now, or maybe she's starting to actually like want to like be manipulative on her own. And she's starting to like concern herself with her future.
After that conversation with Otto, she made her choice. Like, I think she knows exactly what she wants to do now. Like, even with her whole entrance into the wedding wearing her green dress.
Yeah.
Like, that was, that just showed, that was pretty much laying down the first gauntlet right there. So she knows exactly.
But now in the last episode, but on the last episode, though, Bobby, there was that moment there, that was seen where her and Rhaenyra actually came back together. And they seem to actually like really genuinely.
In this episode?
Reconnect. Last episode.
Yeah, but she's changed her mind since then. Oh, yeah. Because now she knows that Rhaenyra lied. She thinks Rhaenyra lied to her, so she can't trust her now. Yes, I get that.
No, I'm just, I'm only bringing that up.
She's shocked when she finds out that, oh, God, you know.
Yeah, when Kristen Cole admitted to it, that completely caught her off guard.
Right.
No, that's where I'm going, is that she is conflicted. She doesn't know what the fuck's going on. You know what I mean? Like she,
no, but she knows what she wants to do. She's not conflicted.
Oh yeah,
she's chosen her side.
Yeah.
That's why she's talking to Kristen Cole, because she knows that he could be a pawn with what he knows and what his secrets are. So she knows she can use them. Like she's starting the game. She's really starting to play the game now.
She's always had the ability. Right, it's always been there. We've always known that she was intelligent and capable and whatnot. It was
she just didn't really embrace it when she first got married with Viserys. She just thought she was going to be like the loving wife, but now she sees she's got to play politics as well.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, because her children's life are on the line.
There you go, right there. You called it, Renee. Her survival is also in peril.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. She could very well be killed. You know, I mean. Honestly, I mean, you know, who knows where she's going to be at with Rhaenyra in a year or 6 months, or what the hell, you know, who knows? And with Viserys falling apart.
From what the next episode is going to be, it's going to be 5 years. Because I guess this next episode they're doing a 5-year jump.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, Rhaenyra and Alicent will be different people.
I'm surprised.
He collapses at the very end when they're finally having the shotgun wedding, as it were, and so you think something's happened to him, but then in the previews next week's which is getting ready to come on, and I guess it's actually starting now. This week's episode, we see him alive. So.
Yeah, I was surprised at that. I thought he would have for sure been dead in 5 years.
Yeah, I did too.
But I guess he's still alive.
I thought he died at that point.
Yeah.
Thanks for spoiling that shit
he's not
for
looking
me.
Good.
Thanks for spoiling that shit for you guys. I appreciate that.
Sorry.
That's okay. I don't care.
Well, the trailer's out.
Too. We were spoiled. Why did they?
It's
have
okay.
That cliffhanger and then.
Hey, listen, I'm spoiled just to get to hang out with you two guys like this and whatnot and have a good time, man. I'm spoiled just with that. What, are you kidding me? You know, I mean, hey, not to mention the fact that I fortunately have not vowed chastity or whatever and whatnot. So as usual, I will be having a guest coming over, a female guest at some point that will drop in silently at some point towards the end of the show, as I usually do, you know, to entertain me later.
You can have your own red wedding.
Oh, it will be a red wedding. But you know, unless she's wearing red underwear or something, I don't know. We'll have to see.
You can play white wedding in the background.
We'll see. No. No. So at that point, Kristen Cole's a straight dude, man. I mean, I didn't get any way around it. Like it was pretty.
I think he's kind of a dick. I thought that was kind of a dick move that he did, where he was trying to get Rhaenyra to run away with him. Because
but isn't that chivalrous though? Isn't that what chivalry is about?
No, because it would have given her all the shame. If they run away together, who's going to get the most hate? The knight who broke his vows, or the potential queen who threw away her throne?
Yeah,
he was taking all the shame off of him and giving it to her if they ran away together. Like, I thought that was a dick move for him. Like, I really think he's turning, like, that was like his villain turn at that point.
But she manipulated him to begin with anyway.
Well, I mean, she sees him for the romantic fool he is.
Yeah. I mean, when he said, "You just want me to be your whore," that was pretty much what she wanted. Yeah, exactly what she wanted. But he just didn't want to do that. He didn't want that shame. He didn't want to live with that shame. He'd rather put it on her and run away together, and she bears all the shame. Like that's what I got out of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, shit, man. If you're poor, like if you're poor and like on the run and shit in that world, she could be like, before you know it, she could be working in a whorehouse or something all of a sudden. You never know, you know?
Oh yeah, that's old movies and whatnot, stories, novels have been written just about that subject.
Mm-hmm.
You know, bringing the common man. If you look at Titanic, dare I bring up that movie? That whole romantic thing she's having with Leonardo DiCaprio. You know, he's bringing this great lady down, and of course they have to end it with him dying, because what would have happened if she had of her station wind up living with Leonardo DiCaprio in some little tenement in Delancey Street or whatever. You know, we saw what poor he had to go through when he was living in New York in Five Corners.
Well, just to be clear,
she'd have wound up in Five Corners.
Just to be clear about how I do have a heart and whatnot and everything, and I can be like, enjoy like poppy, like soft stuff or whatever. My ex-girlfriend wore the Titanic dress to the prom that year, her senior year, when I was my freshman year, when I was 14 and she was 18. And basically I loved that freaking Celine Dion song, man. I loved it. Like that was some powerful shit for me, man. Back in the day.
Titanic?
The music, the song from Celine.
The music. Okay.
Yeah, the Celine Dion song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
then they would have had to sold that darn diamond, and that money was gone.
And my ex-girlfriend looked damn good in that freaking dress too, man. I'll tell you right now, she did.
Oh sure, yeah.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, she did. She was a big chick too. Big ass chick. She was bigger than me. She just slapped my ass around and shit. All kinds of shit. Yeah, I was a little kid in love with her. It was funny. We actually basically, after Cole admits his sin and asks for a merciless death, which was some serious shit, I thought. Of course, Allison just walks away and dismisses him. We actually got the Maesters in there tending to Viserys. And I thought that was actually a good point for you, Bobby, to jump in and just kind of explain really quick sort of what the Maesters are. Like what they do essentially, what their role is.
Yeah, they're basically like a physician, sort of like also counsel. They're all trained in Old Town at the Citadel. Usually every house has at least one that's always a servant of that house, no matter who's in charge. Like in Game of Thrones, the Starks held Winterfell, but once the Boltons took over, the Maester had to serve the Boltons as well because they're the new lords. So he can't have really any alliances or allegiances to the house. He just has to serve whoever is the leader. But they're all trained by the Citadel. They have like a chain that they wear, and each link represents each school that they've studied. So, but yeah, they're really important. Like, and they pretty much are the ones who like record the histories of the whole Westeros.
Yes, and they can become part of the political aspect too, and they can become part of the intrigue. They can actually become part of like the manipulation and the sabotage and all that and whatnot too.
Yeah, because in Game of Thrones there was Maester Pycelle, who was supposed to be servant of whoever was the Lord of King's Landing, but he was pretty much a servant of the Lannisters only. So yeah, they can be manipulative as well.
Yes. That's the thing about this whole universe. Everybody plays the politics. Everyone does to some degree. No one is above it. There's no way around it, or else you die. You don't live in a lot of situations. Now, I'll throw to you guys on this one, Renee and Bobby. I'll be honest with you. I was confused with the wedding. Like, I was like partially putting up lights at the same time and watching the wedding at the same time. There was stuff going on. I couldn't really tell cohesively what the hell was really going on. I understood I understood it was a celebration for the marriage, right, and all that. And
yeah, it was like the first. It was like the first dinner because they were going to have like a week-long thing with tournaments, and then at the end of it would be the official wedding. But I think this was just like a sort of opening ceremony dinner.
Big banquet for all the families and all the guests and everything.
And they were going to have it at the actual at Corlys's place instead of at. Is that what they were going to do?
I believe they were in King's Landing. because that one
Well, they
shot of all the ships and Laenor's and Rhaenys' dragons with the ships flying into King's Landing. So I think they headed to King's Landing.
That
Yeah,
was
they're gonna have
also
a big thing.
Go ahead. Yeah, Renee, that was visually stunning too, right?
Oh
I
yeah,
thought
all
that-
that. Yeah, everything, all the officials and royalty and houses and whatnot coming to be represented, and then the dragons. Yeah, very dramatic and kind of. And I guess I'm assuming that the big, whatever their religion is, of the seven gods or whatever that's for their.
That's it. That's it. Yep, you called it.
So they'll probably have they would have had the wedding in the temple and
Right. Yeah, and the sept.
all the ceremonial everything that they would have to do. So yeah,
and that. Oh, Renee, and that's an old that's a very like universal old type of belief system like that. Although that goes up to 1,000 years later in the Game of Thrones, that like the god of the sevens or whatever is the favored religion of most people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the south, in the north, it's mostly the old gods, which kind of confuses me about Alicent because she spends a lot of time in the Godswood with a heart tree. Even though she's from Old Town, and Old Town's like the center of the faith, the seven. So that's kind of confusing. Maybe she just likes to chill there for some reason.
Renee, the Godswood deal is that those are people who that worship the old gods, the northern gods, like the Starks, the people who live up in the cold in the winter. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're the ones that all worship the gods that are actually more like spiritual, like animalistic, like of the forest.
Like nature.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. They would be, and without even having seen any of it, to tell you the truth, but just based on the fact that they do reach back into archaeology and history and everything, they would have been like pagans. So if you want to correlate,
exactly.
It would be like
because the faith of the seven is more like the current like Christianity, I guess.
Right. It would be similar to say like if you're around 800 AD after Rome's pretty much gone down, but you're sort of in a vacuum, but you do have most of the kingdoms and what's left, houses and whatnot, are left in the Roman Empire area are Christian, but the people north of the Alps, they're still pagans for the most part.
Yeah, exactly.
Like wherever the Rome had been, because at the end of Rome, it had really went Christianized pretty fast. So I mean, that was. Everybody realized that if you want to do business with the big cities, you had to be a Christian. So they all pretty much converted, and even into Great Britain, where the Romans were at. But then, as they pulled out, as that's kind of got sucked back with the fall of the Roman Empire, then paganism had a big heyday and sort of came back. So that's what you'd be dealing with. And so there's kind of a similarity between. Even though in the South they still have the seven gods or the seven deities, however they're sort of getting to this, as you sort of explained it to me in the later TV series, or before this, but set in the future of this particular TV series. They're sort of coming into this unit, sort of a unified God, or there's just one God. Our particular God is the God, and these others are just his, or whatever his aspect.
Yeah, the Lord of Light.
Right, and all that. And so really, there's, you sort of see, and that pretty much happened because I've said this before. That's what I've studied. Academic study of religion is what I've studied and have a BA degree in, and that's pretty much the pattern that you would see of religions. That you start out it's polytheistic, then it becomes what they call monist, when they sort of, each city and each tribe sort of has their favorite god. And then as these cities come together, then the most powerful tribe or the most powerful house, their particular god then becomes the god of the people. That particular form of their religion becomes the more norm. And then you have monotheism. So that's pretty much how Judaism came about and formed, and then of course by probably right around 950 BC, it's when they pretty much became a monotheistic Hebrew religion, became a monotheistic religion, which would later develop into Judaism.
Yes, I think it's also important to mention that, like, with the God of the Sevens, there's fluidity there. Like there's room for like play in there. Like, you know what I mean? Like you could change things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and adapt things and whatnot. And you might have to force it a little bit on people, but you can. There's leniency there.
Yeah,
Whereas
that would be the common pattern. I mean, they would have gods would come out, would become popular. They would die off. Somebody else would become more popular. You know, a generation or two later. But then at some point, particularly as within what they would call civilization, you know, you need unity in the subjects to keep everybody on the same page. We don't want to be fighting over who's who's the right one. So let's all settle down on one God, and that's usually when that comes when monotheism comes about. Now, didn't happen everywhere all over the globe, but it pretty much happened certainly in the Middle East. That's how everything turned out, and that's been the primary influence in the West since then.
See, now when you read the books and when you watch Game of Thrones and all and whatnot, you could see that, and you'll see it in this series too. There is no conflict between people about gods. Like they don't bicker about it.
Right? They're not.
No.
They're not.
It was more in the past, because when Aegon first came to Westeros, he had a lot of conflict with the Faith of the Seven, because
he did.
The Targaryens still believed in ancestral marriage, and the Faith of the Seven really had a problem with that. Like that's why now at this point, even it's still kind of not done as much as it used to, because they're sort of like adhering to the laws of the land where they are.
Well, you know, I mean, most definitely. And I think that now we see Alicent wear the green dress for the first time, right? So we actually get the first representation of the actual conflict being flushed out for the first time in the entire green dress, of course, which it is. What is it? The black? Is it the green versus the black, Bobby? Or is it?
Yeah.
Because
Rhaenyra usually wears a black dress, and then
there you go.
Like they were saying in the episode where the House Hightower usually has a green flame when they're calling their banners to war. So the green is really significant for calling out war.
So now, am I the only one that's confused again as to how? Now, look, I got the feeling from that actually seen in the Vale that Daemon's like fake wife or whatever kind of ran the show over there. So how the hell did he manage to pull that off and make that into a hunting accident? He crushed her freaking skull in. You know what I'm saying?
They're very. I don't think anybody over on her side of the family doubts that she wasn't murdered by him.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And from what I've seen of the guys that did the show, they actually looked at the history, and they saw that her cause of death was like hunting accident. That apparently her spine and skull were crushed when she fell off her horse, which to them sounded suspicious as hell. So that's why they wrote it that Damien actually killed her, because it sounded like that could actually have happened.
I'll tell you right now, that's a tough broad, man. I'll tell you right now, to be crushed like that by a damn horse that weighs like fucking 600 pounds, and just be like, "What up?" You know, like I knew you couldn't finish all that shit, whatnot. Like, you know, like that was some freaking heavy shit, man. She's a tough chick. So, what was the? You tell me. You guys inform me, just so I understand. What was basically the outcome of the entire ceremony? Like, I mean, what was the ending of it, or how did it like go out? How did they fade it out?
Rhaenyra and Laenor actually got married. Like they moved it. It's like because of what happened that night with the dude dying. It's like they just like, we better get these two married now, I guess, because they were doing their actual ceremony right there in the hall. Because at the very last scene, you see the blood on the floor still from the guy that just died a few minutes ago.
Rat comes up and starts licking.
Yeah, which is great foreshadowing of something that's going to happen. Like just remember the names Blood and Cheese. Like I think that's what that was foreshadowing.
Well, I mean, I'm just a little bit surprised that they would have another 5-year time jump like that, because I mean, look, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to be logical and they don't want to overdo it with the series or whatever, whatnot, with how long Game of Thrones ran or whatever. Maybe they don't want to just try to go for a straight cash cow kind of deal. But I figured if anything, they were going to try to make some kind of effort to stretch this story out.
Yeah, it's really hard to see what they're like ultimate plan is, because I don't know if I know they've been renewed for a second season, but I don't know if they're going to write like in anticipation of a third, or if they're going to end it with the second. Like I have no idea what their timeline is,
Well,
and
look,
with the
they're
time
doing
jumps, it just makes it more confusing.
And then
little bit.
again, look, maybe they're going to go in the Walking Dead direction, possibly where we already know they're giving this to Jon Snow. After Game of Thrones series 2 they're going to do. So they're going to continue the story of Jon Snow. Maybe they're going to actually maybe keep this one shorter, almost mini series
it could
length.
be. Or because I've been hearing that they're talking to Elizabeth Olsen and Henry Cavill
Hey,
to
can you blame
somehow
them?
to play parts in season 2, although they haven't said what their parts are going to be. But it could very well be that they do like the Dance of Dragons maybe takes up 2 seasons, and then another season will be about maybe even Aegon the Conqueror or some other story. Because I know they're also doing the show 10,000 Ships, which is about Nymeria, who settled on Dorne, way before everything else, like 1,000 years before this.
And that was when Rhaenyra was with the minstrel in like episode 2 or whatever, and she was just sitting there reading her book and whatnot.
He was singing about that, and when Alicent was quizzing Rhaenyra on Princess Nymeria, that was the story that they were talking about. Like that's what the show will be about. Her escaping to Dorne and then burning her ships so that they don't, because Dorne is going to be their home and they weren't going to leave. So.
Well, check this out. Oh man, that show is intense.
Yeah. Yeah, you can sort of
God
tell
damn.
that new actresses are playing Alicent and the Princess.
Oh yeah, what are you kidding me? Oh yeah, they look hella different. You can't even like really make out what their relationships are like now and that. Like it's like what the hell? You can't really tell what the vibe's going on. And the series is really old.
He's starting to look like Gollum.
Yeah.
Yes, sort of. Yeah, he's looking rough, man. He ain't looking good.
And it looks like we see Prince Aegon.
Yep.
Yeah, he's sort of standing there with the dragon, whatever. He's probably going through his dragon lessons. And
Starting the conflict up. You know what I mean? Getting them young. You know what I mean? Getting them ready to fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they know,
maybe that's why they're doing the time jump, because it's like, let's get to the war.
Yeah, may as well.
Yeah, we're gonna get land battles too. I don't know if you care about that, Renee, but I know me and Bob do. I like land battles. I want to see actual like sword on sword fighting and shit.
Yeah, so. But you notice, I think we didn't mention her, but remember the little girls. What originally was going to be Corlys's little daughter, who's going to be.
Oh yeah.
You know, Father says I can to your 14. She looks like she's like 9 years old or whatever. But then when we see her, she's actually the one who comes out and greets them, at the dock and everything. And she's grown up. She grew up fast.
Yes.
Hey, you do back then.
It looks like she may be making some sort of an alliance with Damien also, because I think she has attraction for him as well.
Well, she's probably pissed because she was trying to hit Viserys and whatnot. And Viserys rejected her, so
And Damon, he killed his wife so he could marry Rhaenyra, but now she's getting married to somebody else. So.
But wait a minute! Don't forget, Damon also has his concubine or whatever too, his paramour or whatever too.
I don't think she's with him anymore.
Well, I mean,
she's too busy being like a spy master or something.
Oh, okay.
telling everybody's secrets. Because she was the one who told Otto Hightower about Rhaenyra and Damien in the first place.
See, I think Damon can be manipulated too. I think he can. I think Damon can be vulnerable too. I think there are certain women that are capable of actually working Damon. There's always a woman out there that can hustle a dude. This is how it is. It just boils down to the fact you have to have the right woman that fits the right guy.
Well, he wants Rhaenyra more than just for her power. I mean, he wants her also.
Yeah.
Of course.
I think he's obsessed with her also.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I was trying to say earlier in the show. I think he genuinely loves her. Like he genuinely like the only decent part of him is Rhaenyra. Well, is how he feels about Rhaenyra.
Whatever he thinks love is, that's
Yes, that's the only ethical part of him at all. Everything else is fucking disgusting. But the Rhaenyra part is like in salvation almost. I think he knows that he's unethical and corrupt and like fucking manipulative and a piece of garbage in a way. And he sees Rhaenyra as almost like redemption in a way. You know?
Yeah.
No, it makes sense to want to. I mean, even flawed, like evil people, still at some point, at times, can want to desire to change or to clean up their act or to find God or whatever.
Well, I mean, maybe so, but I think his obsession is totally corrupt.
Yeah.
Oh,
'cause
yeah,
He,
look.
I mean,
It's equally
he
as
does
corrupt
have a
as yeah.
he does have a reason to hate any of their other kids because they're just pushing him farther down the succession.
Oh, that's the thing that's so interesting about this shit. There's so much going on. There's so many different conflicting things. You don't know what the hell to think or believe with some of these characters. Like, there's so many different pressures. You can't tell what they actually believe or don't believe or what they want or don't want. And if they're not lying or manipulating or whether they're telling the truth, you always get to a point where you don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
And that's why it boils down to who plays the Game of Thrones the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
That's
know?
it.
There you go. Well, there you go, folks. That I think that's the best way to end the show right there. We're an hour and 51 minutes. You know, so you know, and honestly, I'm trying. I don't want to. I love Bobby P and respect Bobby P and Renee so much that I'm not going to put them through one of my that I've done my 3.5 hour long streams I've done before on here and whatnot, where I just like let it go and get really drunk and shit and everything and whatnot and just get after it. I'm not going to do that to you guys. You bail out. You guys just bail on me anyway.
Can you imagine, Bobby P? Can you imagine?
You guys would just dip out anyway. I'd be by myself. I'd be talking to myself. I'd be talking to myself and shit. That'd be the show. Which would still be entertaining, you know? I guess, you know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe I'm an acquired taste in a way. But either way, folks, let me just go around real quick and whatnot and everything. And I wanted to say just really quick that I want to give mad props to Bobby P the other night on the show review we did. When Bobby P had his chance to plug and whatnot and everything, him being sort of new to the game a little bit with the guesting, and you know, he'd done some podcasting before he came with the Bleeding Edge and whatnot. But this is where he's really kind of, you know, getting the grind in, getting his work in. And like a pro, he jumped right in and was like, hey, Sunday, 7 p.m., you know what I'm saying? MCU's Bleeding Edge. We're going to be jamming out our freaking episode 5 House of the Dragon review show. And I was like, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's fucking awesome, dude.
Thank
you know, like, hell yeah. I respect the shit out of that, man. I'll tell you what, Renee. Now, I actually, believe it or not, I actually have been watching the Podcast of Champions lately and even left some nice comments in the comment section on some of the videos, too.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you know. I still care. I do. I still care about the champions.
And what are they saying?
I mean, no, I'm just saying. I just went I watched some of the shows and I left some comments. Just so, you know, hey Taylor, hey Biz, you know, hey Renee, I love you guys. You know, I love.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, I never go over the comments.
No, that's all it was. You know, just these are my friends. You know what I mean? Good people. You know, good guests. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know, nothing bad. Mm-hmm. But of course, at the same time, I won't lie. Even I can see that, like, whoever the fuck, you know, some guy that's on there or whoever this was just to replace me or whatever is a joke compared to me. And whatever. I'm not gonna get into it, but either way, Renee. Now I will tell you this though, I did enjoy watching like the stuff I saw on there. You guys did some Phase 5 previews and stuff and like that and whatnot, which we're gonna be doing soon probably.
Oh yeah.
You know, we've got that coming ahead basically. What's been going on over there? Have you know how's it been going?
You know, I've been just participating a little bit. I've been doing I haven't done all of them, but I've done a couple of the She-Hulk of their reviews over there. But I'm doing that with you too. But you go in a different direction than they do, so I can have a little different conversation over there. So, but other than that, I know they're getting ready to do Andor, and they're doing the Lord of the Rings prequel, Power to the Rings or something like that. Whatever it is, House of the Rings, Power to the Dragons, whatever it is. What else?
The Rings of Power. The Rings of Power.
Rings of Power. There you go. Rings of Power. And golly, I'm trying to think what else they're doing right now. They're doing another show, and honestly, I can't remember. So apologize, guys. dropped the ball on that. But yeah, they're doing different, just doing different shows like that, and just having always great people on the panel and everything, and we talk about different things and just enjoy it.
Hell yeah, there you go. Yep, that sounds good. And you know what? Hopefully, I talked to Lord Deathman last night for the first time in a while.
Mm-hmm.
He's okay. He's having have a little bit of a rough time, but he'll be back on the bleeding edge soon. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, Bobby, you get a chance to meet him. He's a great guy. I know Renee enjoys recording with him and whatnot. I certainly do.
Oh yeah. Well, Lady Death Lady and Lord Deathman. I mean, she's shit that she's got her eye on him. Mm-hmm.
Didn't you actually kind of like feel like you weren't sure about Lord Deathman at first or something like that, or like you weren't sure?
No.
Okay.
We're Lord Deathman and I are tight.
Oh, that's right. You guys just had that little spiff or whatever with Doom when we were like with the Halo series. When we were doing Halo.
Oh yeah, over Halo. Yeah, he got a little. He got a little. I think a little too into the gaming part of it, and I was thinking, it's like, well, that's fine, but we're not talking about a game. We're talking about a TV show.
Renee got all shitty with me and Lord Deathman on one of our shows one time.
Oh, I did.
She was fucking getting all tense and shit.
I did not. Yeah, I did not. That's not true. That is not true, Bobby P.
Hey, whatever. Either way, I would put it out there right now. I'm not afraid to admit it that Renee and I are good friends. We generally are. I love her very much. She means a lot to me. Mm-hmm. She's one of the few people out there that I on life that and I've actually been pretty open with Bobby P about some of my struggles and whatnot that I deal with at times. And Renee is someone that I honestly feel, it doesn't matter how old she is or how old I am or how young somebody is or whatever. For whatever reason, we connect at a level where I feel comfortable taking her advice, like when she gives it to me and whatnot. And for me, that's very rare.
Yeah.
People very rarely ever offer me advice. It never happens in my life. Mm-hmm. I'm so independent and like so confident and secure with myself that people never occurs. So to have it happen and me take it is rare for me. And it's not that I don't mind that I have a problem with taking advice. It's that no one ever gives it to me. I always had to figure everything out on my own. That's all I know. Hey, when you have a TBI, you figure that shit out on your own for the most part. That's how it is. That's how it goes. But but either way, I appreciate Renee very much. And I love the guys at the Podcast of Champions very much. I do. They're all my friends. They're all great people. Even Grandmaster is my buddy. Taylor, Biz, who I miss like a motherfucker because he's not in Australia and it's hard to get a hold of. I'll tell you right now, Bobby P, if you ever decide to do your own show, don't be like me, man, and be a nice guy and be like, oh, I'll do whatever with these people from other countries and shit for collaborations. Like I'll fucking record at any time to make it work for you. Because at that point, you end up doing some straight crazy shit, man. Like doing shows at 4 a.m. and shit like that and whatnot and all that, Yes, it can be pretty intense, man. That's that nice guy in me, man. I just like to try to please people and whatnot, and I want to get along and find common ground, and so I always like give in. But no, I'll tell you what. Not if anything, I'm actually trying to make an effort to try to like have us record with more people in different countries. It's one of my goals coming up. Like towards the end of the year and going into next year, I'd love to have some guests come on from different countries and talk Marvel and talk MCU and stuff like that. When I think it would add something interesting to the show.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, besides that, I don't really have any plugs besides the fact that we'll be back here again Sunday. We'll have episode 7, I guess. 6. We'll have episode 6. And I believe on that one, we'll probably have at least probably 4, if not 5 people on that one. So our roster will be a little bit expanded. But that's probably going to be our limit for this. Like, as long as this goes on, or whatever seasons there are, for the most part, depending on how Renee and how Bobby feel, there's Dodge going. That would be my friend.
Yeah, they're sending in the dogs into the bank.
Hold on. I think I should have my door locked. Hold on a second. Okay, that doesn't even work. That doesn't even fit with what the hell we're doing. That's not even the same fucking show. So, anyways, well, there you go, folks. This is a little promo for the Lord of the Rings. So, anyways, we'll be back this Sunday. All right, for episode 6, as Bobby just said. Three of us will be back. And as far as I'm concerned, if I'm blessed enough to have Bobby and Renee back with me for season 2 and season 3 of this shit and whatnot, as far as I'm concerned, I'm gonna try to keep the same grouping right here, the same threesome and whatnot. Of course, I had to say threesome, right? You know me, baby. Bleeding edge style, yo. You know what I mean? Couldn't say it any other way. But no, I'd love to keep this team intact and just keep on rocking through the series and whatnot. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, we're doing Lord of the Rings, episode 4, on Wednesday evening. I have no idea how it's gonna go. I won't lie to you. I was a little bit. I didn't care so much for the energy of the 3rd episode. It really kind of flatlined for me a little bit with the series. I'm a little shaking a little bit and whatnot, but I'm trying to be optimistic. I want to be positive and think it'll get better. I do. I think it will. I really do. And then as far as She-Hulk goes, we do that on Friday evenings at 9:35 p.m. Eastern, 6:35 p.m. Pacific. And we just did a great review with the same team right here in Cyber on Friday night. Great show, great review. And with the 4 of us, it can be the shittiest episode ever, and we'll still have a good time and make it good. It'll still be a good review. But hey, we're getting Daredevil soon, baby. He's coming. So that's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. And hey, besides that, when She-Hulk ends, Disney Plus series are over. We're gonna get the Werewolf by Night special. We're gonna get the the Guardians of the Galaxy
Panther.
special.
We'll get Black Panther.
Oh, yep. We'll get Black
that'll
Panther
be the next
forever.
big thing. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think Daredevil's getting a series as well. Born Again.
But that doesn't come out. Until like the end of next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Secret Invasion comes right after the first of the year or something like that.
We're gonna have no Disney Plus series at all after She-Hulk. That's it. For the next after that.
You know what we can do? We can do a rewatch of, since it's now on Disney Plus, of Thor 4.
Oh, Love and Thunder?
Yeah, Love and Thunder. Like, not right now, but, in a couple of weeks, whenever. And then just,
Well, that's actually what I was going to just point out.
Because I'm going to look at it again, but I'm holding off till we do it.
Well, no, that's what I was talking about earlier when I put that comment at the Cybers, is that we're going to be in a different place then, because for us, all we know is the Disney Plus series. It's all we ever done. We started with WandaVision, it just kept on rolling. So at that point, we still have Infinity Saga reviews to do yet. We still have to finish the rest of all the MCU films. You get all the way up to Endgame and everything yet. We've got ways to go with that still yet. A couple films to go. But we're probably going to be covering some DC. Some DCU. We're going to be still getting that in. We'll be reviewing some DC animated films. I think that would be fun. Change things up a little bit. Maybe do some more comic book orientated type stuff here and there, Marvel wise. And branch off just like this and cover some different TV series and stuff and whatnot. If we find another one that we like or two, hey, we'll just jump on them. We're going to do Andor. We're going to do it late. We're not going to be on time with the series.
Yeah, because I think even though there's not going to be any MCU series, I think pretty much Star Wars, because Andor's out now, and I believe the Mandalorian season 3 is going to be out before the end of this year.
Yeah, as soon as She-Hulk ends, we're gonna go right into Andor. Wherever it's at, we're just gonna start right there at episode 1 through 3 and start there. And just go ahead and start doing our reviews right there. Just for fun. We're not gonna worry about the timeline or try to rush or catch up. We want to enjoy it. The series looks great. I mean, I like the trailer, but bottom line though, I'm really expecting a lot of ideas and topics and segments and whatnot from you two. All right. Like, I'm gonna need some help figuring out what the hell we're gonna cover. So, at that point.
Well, we could do like a whole wrap up of I don't know if you want to do Secret Wars, but just once, She-Hulk's over, just a wrap up of all the series and just talk about them in general, different things. Different aspects of it, and just kind of do it that way.
Yeah, like re-reviews, I call them. Re-reviews, where you go back and kind of
it wouldn't necessarily be a re-review, but yeah, or you could do like one episode per series, a re-review, not do a each series like we do. We just do like a 60-minute or 90-minute take on the whole series.
Oh yeah, and Renee, you know as well as I do, and I'm sure Bobby P, you'll be all over this. We did not at all even get into like the real depth and entirety of what happened, what Marvel's dropped, like at the San Diego Comic-Con, D23. We haven't even delved into all of it at all yet.
Oh yeah.
We haven't even
I did see the it was the bootleg
the Loki
trailer.
season 2 trailer. Yep.
Yeah, it was. You could only see it like it was a bleak angle. You couldn't really see it real well, but you could get a pretty good idea of what was being said. And,
Yep.
and action and whatnot. So yeah, that looked really interesting.
Yeah, I watched one of those breakdowns today, Renee, in the bathroom when I was shaving. I watched one of my favorite. I'll plug in right now. Everything Always, Cosmic Wonder. Those are some of my favorite YouTubers. My favorite Marvel YouTubers are my sources too. They're great guys. They do a great job. And I watched the Everything Always, his breakdown of the Loki 2 trailer. It sounded very interesting to me. They bringing back everybody. They're bringing back, Gaga Beth or however how you pronounce her name, that does Rensselaer. They're bringing back Owen Olsen, which they had to. Sylvie's back. And honestly, I'll tell you right now, I wanted to get a Sylvie poster, but I had to go with Miss Marvel because I had a hard time finding one.
Well, it looks like too. It might be that there's different Lokis that they're meeting somewhere. That they're meeting. That he and Mobius are Loki variant and Mobius are hunting down for whatever reason, and going back and finding an earlier version of Sylvie before she got back in the 70s or whatever. So yeah, it looks like I think it's going to be really good. I know that there was like some surreptitious shots where I think one of the Eternals, the Indian actor. I think he may be either going to see a performance of his or something. So that'll be interesting to see what that's about. Because we like, why in the world did you guys Loki's laying down the line? Why did you let all this stuff happen? That'd be a fun scene.
No, you know what? And I think that if anything, now Bobby, I think I told you before. Renee knows about it. I like to do the Monica Rambeau Awards with all the Disney Plus series in terms of like the second who I feel like is the best secondary character that sort of stands out in the series,
right?
Sort of shines or whatever, based off Monica Rambeau from WandaVision, right? Because she stole it every time she came on screen. She just killed it. Which I think that they did that purposely. To be honest with you, that wasn't just her. They elevated her, in a way.
Even more so than Agatha.
Yes, I think they did.
Okay.
I think they. You can do that cinematically. You could, and in TV, you can position certain things with cameras and whatnot, and with the storytelling.
No, I'm saying I thought Agatha was a better secondary character to break through. I mean, she's getting.
Oh no. I mean, hey, it's a personal thing. That was just my choice. I like Monica Rambeau. I thought she was the standout.
No, I did too. I just thought Agatha was more of a secondary, breakout character.
No, don't get me wrong. Catherine Hahn was great. She really was. She was great. But at the same time, though, although I don't agree with all those people out there that hated the finale and all that shit and everything, I didn't think it was that bad.
No, I loved every part of that series.
I mean, Renee knows. I thought WandaVision was the best Marvel thing that came out last year. That was my favorite thing that came out. I mean, flat out. And I thought the Black Widow film was number 2. That was best fucking movie, the Marvel movie that came out last year with Black Widow film. But then again, I'm biased.
Yeah, we'll have to disagree. We'll have to agree to disagree on that one.
I'm very tethered to the original 6 Avengers, man. Like, I've got a lot of props for them. They mean a lot to me. So either way, bottom line, it's gonna be a lot of interesting shit. The leader is gonna be the main villain of the Captain America 4 film. He's bringing him back.
And it was just reported that She-Hulk is gonna show up in Captain America 4.
No shit.
Yeah, I just heard that today.
Wow, that'll be interesting. Well, I'll tell you what. Hey, well, I guess that's enough, folks. I mean, shit, we're way over 2 hours now. Bobby's got to get his beauty sleep. And Renee,
more Call of Duty.
Renee's buzz has been killed. She's got to get stoned. So, in the meantime, folks,
I got to go to work.
Oh, okay, that's right. You got to go to work. I forgot.
Don't tell my secrets.
No, I won't. I promise, I won't. Believe me. Believe me. I'm not going to tell your secrets. I don't even want anybody to know my secrets. What, are you kidding me? My shit is not that kind of shit you want out there. But no, I'm just joking. My shit's not that bad. No, but folks, look, we love you all out there. You know, at the end of the day, over here at the Bleeding Edge, just support the hell out of us. I don't care if you hit the like fucking button. I don't give a shit less. Don't like it. If you want to hit the dislike button, go ahead. Just fucking subscribe, man. It's not complicated. Shit, man. We work hard with this shit. We have a good time. We're trying to entertain you and whatnot, and have fun and whatnot. We're ballsy enough to be R-rated and shit in a niche where nobody else is. Come on now. Give us props for that shit, man. Take some balls to do that shit. It's no joke. You know, YouTube could just get rid of us. Nah, it's not going to happen. We're good with YouTube. I handle my business with YouTube. You just got to know what the lines are, which ones you can't cross, which ones you can. But no, folks, support us, please. Please subscribe to us. We love all of you on all the different platforms, Rumble, Facebook Live, Twitter Live, Twitch. All of you are all wonderful. Thank you very much for your support. And all of you wonderful people that give us the majority of our views and whatnot when you actually watch this live stream as a video, we love all of you too. So for Renee, Loki's mom, and for Robbie P, you know, both wonderful, solid guests and good friends of mine. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great week, everybody. And hey, enjoy episode 6. I'm sure you're probably watching it right now. Or yeah, episode 6. Probably enjoying the shit out of it.